This conference will
How many
now be
other people?
recorded.
It's only 4.
Yeah. I have the speaker bumped as much as I can.
As a member, that would be a
Let's see. And nobody else is on the Discord. On the Discord.
You want to hold on. Let me a whole group of people. I know I see it as exposure for potential customers, but who's to say? I don't know.
Let me
a
get Will's.
I was on Discord.
Just spacing go out, but I think that might be like a big change. Like
I think this is good.
I don't know if this is in the middle of day and hours.
I think it's better just to do it on the meeting.
Yeah. Or if you were to move it to somewhere like in the route, you lose.
I'll share my screen on Discord.
So I don't know. I think there's more people living more on board than down in Broward. Okay. So there's more Broward. I would say Broward and going to the tweeters. Everything has been over 10 years. I'm not gonna lie, but one idea.
I won't allow you to edit the meeting.
I really hate that meetup feature. As soon as the meeting starts, you can't edit it.
Right.
It's annoying as hell.
In the store. Yeah. I kid you not. Search up. Does everyone know that? Do you know why they closed the Miami subs in Hialeah?
Did I win?
Do you know why they closed the Miami hubs?
No.
Miami
Bro, because it was saying cocaine?
No. Porn. It's
No,
really?
Okay.
Nice.
Hours
Very cool.
They shut up porn.
That's a big no-no. Somebody got
Shut it down, bro.
Somebody dropped the dime on them. They must have saw that.
Fast people.
Yeah, you eat that sub and then eat that sub and got nutted all over that restaurant. So,
when it got known that it was there,
You want to give it a 5 minutes for people join?
you want to hear something funny? It then became a Chick-fil-A.
all right, just give us 5 minutes, Will, and we're gonna start it off. All right?
No worries, dude.
We should take a picture of it, just the scroll that we have here, or a little setup.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think?
no, today Will's going to give us a presentation on RF hacking in general, right? And he's going to show us some his presentation on RF hacking. So it was just unfortunate that the other location was closed and delayed us an hour already. So, say,
Russia.
Yeah, that's just something.
I have no comment on how to say that. Mostly, that I used to work with microchip out there.
Oh yeah, I need to talk to you about
setting up different stuff like PLSs, networks,
oh, we've been using.
bridges.
So Will's gonna host it.
Yeah, he's going to present.
Will's gonna present.
Wait, who's Will?
Will Nett.
Will Nett on our meetup here. Yeah.
Chicken ramen.
Hey, you guys on Discord? Do you hear me okay? And hear Will and see the presentation?
Or no? No, there was another guy, Gucci. He just
Hey, you say some a couple of words to make sure that they could hear you and that the audio is passing through.
Yeah, testing, testing, 1, 2, and 3. Everybody can hear me okay? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Alpha,
Really?
did you hear that? No, did you hear Will speaking?
that red team, that blue team is
All right, perfect. Cool.
Can you hear me, Jonathan?
oh.
Oh, we have a couple of people on Discord and a couple of people on GoToMeeting. So.
Okay.
Start it now.
Yeah, let's start it now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So, as you can probably see, we're at Miami Subs here.
Nice.
Everyone doing our presentation. Cyber Pizza Cafe didn't open up at all today, apparently, and we had to ditch that location and find a new place. So we're here now. We're online, and any updates you have?
This worked out.
Oh, really? We have to find a place?
Besides having to find a place for our next meeting in 2 weeks, we'll keep you guys updated on a new venue. But today we have Will talking about RF hacking, and he's going to give us a presentation right now. All right?
All right, cool. So, guys, some of you may know me from doing the ADSB talk, which I did at a HackMiami conference and another one actually at a previous meeting. My name's Will Nett, and I do play with a lot with RF and RF technologies. And as far as like, I've got a couple of tools in front of me, one of which was going to be a little bit ironic. It just happened to spark up today. But I do play with a lot of different tools and toys, and there's a lot of different methods I use for doing different kinds of RF hacking. So one of the things that we had done earlier also when I did a talk with Claymore was about broadcasting over a Raspberry Pi. And you can utilize a Raspberry Pi just by installing a single wire on a Raspberry Pi. In this case, I've got a Raspberry Pi Zero, and if you put a wire on, I believe it's GPIO 3, and you can install a WAV file and I'll put in some hyperlinks to the applications that you can install on the Raspberry Pi that will actually enable you to broadcast over multiple different frequencies. And the spectrum that it can actually broadcast in, I believe, goes up to approximately 350 megahertz, which actually 350 megahertz includes pretty much most of like your garage door openers, your security gates at different apartment complexes, things of that nature. One of the devices that I used to use predominantly for locating what the frequency that was actually being utilized is a frequency counter. And I will post a link in our chat about what this device is and how it works. It's relatively simple. You fire it up and you can click on scan, and as long as you're close enough to the transmitter, you can actually locate the frequency. It'll tell you very close. It goes from 27 megahertz up to 3 gigahertz, what the frequency of the transmitter is actually operating on. And that's a really useful tool. Let me see. What else do I have here? There's also, I know some people were more concerned or considering doing about like Wi-Fi hacking or man-in-the-middle attacks and stuff like that. I've gotten some devices like these here. I will post a link in those as well, or in the chat for those as well. And those are actually stupid simple, stupid cheap. You can get like 5 for $20, and they basically run a MicroPython on there that enables you to you can run man-in-the-middle attacks. You could deposit something like this in a plant or somewhere at like a Starbucks and just start capturing people's logins and passwords. other RF hacking techniques that we use. And this is the one that just came in. I really wanted to make sure that I had this a week or two ago, and this is something that I ordered probably back in October, and it literally arrived today, about an hour and a half ago. I called Rispetto about it, and this is called the Flipperzero. I haven't even had a chance to take it out of the box, so you guys are actually seeing it for the first time. But this is the device. And with this device, you can theoretically, you can scan, you can sniff out RF. It has an IR beam meter on there, so it can actually receive IR and broadcast it out. And the frequency ranges on this is sub 1 gigahertz. With this, you can theoretically sniff, copy, and then, like all things RF, if I can see it, if I can hear it, I can reproduce it. And if I can reproduce it, boom, Bob's your uncle, it gets you back in. So for people who want to play with RF, whether it's ham radio or otherwise, there's a lot of different tools out there that everybody can use. For people who want to check out or just start beginning to exploring frequency shifting or getting into RF, one of the big cool websites that I actually go to is websdr.org. And with that, you can actually listen in on different ham radio frequencies. You can't transmit, but you can definitely listen in on those frequencies all over the web. So one of the other cool devices that I use for sniffing out RF is what they call an SDR, or which is a software-defined radio. And that's what we've got over here in this particular screen. I've got an SDR radio plugged in to my screen right now. Let me see, I have one that just arrived a couple of weeks ago, and it is about the size of a USB dongle. This particular SDR radio can actually listen in on frequencies up to, I believe, 2 gigahertz. They make some other ones that listen to frequencies up to even higher, like if you was the HackRF one from Great Scott Gadgets can actually go up to, I believe, 6 gigahertz. So looking into the screen that I've got right now, this is an example of an SDR radio that I've got currently plugged in, and I can listen into, right now I've got it set up for just FM radio, and I'm going to go ahead and start that.
When gas prices get this high, it generally does make people think a little more carefully about.
So what we have here in this particular screen is called a waterfall. And once you've got it dialed in correctly, you can actually, like for a garage door opener, you can actually go onto the FCC's website, which is fccid.io. And if you happen to come across a transmission device like the garage door opener or whatnot, you'll see on the back of them an FCC ID. And with this particular website, if you plug in the FCC ID, and like right here, it'll bring up the technical specifications of the transmitter or the transceiver and tell you what frequency it actually operates on. So most of your like garage door openers, your car key fobs and whatnot, a lot of them typically operate around 315 megahertz. But if you go to this website, you type in the FCC ID, you can typically see what frequency the device operates on. And if you have that, and you have an SDR radio plugged in, and the application I'm using is GQRX. With that, if you can pull up the waterfall, if you get close enough, you can typically see within the waterfall the frequency that the device is actually operating on. Now, one of the things you'll notice on here also is this little button in the bottom corner here, which is record. With that, you can actually, if you're close enough to the person that is operating the device, you can click on record, you can capture that as a WAV file, you can store that WAV file, and then going back to, again, using something like a Raspberry Pi, you can actually, using the Pi FM radio application, rebroadcast that right back out. May take a little bit of cleanup work with something like Audacity, but if you use something like Audacity, you can clean that up and you broadcast that back out, it should actually activate whatever device it is that you're trying to operate, be it a garage door, an apartment complex gateway, things of that nature. So that being said, I mean, that's the gist of it. I really wished I had gotten the Flipper a little bit earlier so I could play with it and give you guys a little bit more in-depth update on how the thing works. Unfortunately, I did not. I just got it today. I just got it this afternoon. So with that being said, that is the gist of a lot of the techniques used for RF hacking. Again, frequency counters help. SDR radios, if you build it out and you use GQRX, which operates on Windows, Mac, and Linux, you can actually see a lot of the spectrum of the stuff that's actually going on RF-wise. You can record it. You can analyze it. You can tell if it's analog or digital. You can zoom in on these things. You can zoom out. Let me see here if I can. No, where is that? It's been a while since I've used this particular one. That wants to just shift the frequency. You can also save the waterfall for later analysis as well. Let me see here, going back to the web SDR. This is a great one I use. Let's go. Region, United States, North America, Northern Utah. Hopefully this is still working. And we want 40 meters. So again, here you can see the waterfall as well. So this is a broader example usage of looking at the waterfall, which again GQRX can also do. And so with that, like I said, that helps people explore the different RF frequencies that are available that you can either see online or locally using something like a software-defined radio or an SDR. The small SDR radio that I initially showed you guys, this little black one here that I got, this retails on Amazon for about 20 bucks. The frequency counter that I have that can actually pick up the frequencies that are currently being transmitted nearby you, this is about $50 online at Amazon. The only problem I have with this realistically is if I'm just out and about and I try and use this, I tend to pick up cell phone towers. So in some cases you actually have to be really close to the transmitter to pick up the actual frequency. So that's the basic gist. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, I can hear you.
No, I was muted. Oh, now he can hear us. You have any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, did you repeat the waterfall? The waterfall stuff that you just played, what was that?
Sorry? I'll post the links to the. I can barely hear you guys. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. We had a question about the waterfall. What's that example you used on for us?
Something about the waterfall.
Where did you pull the sample, the audio sample from?
So there's the audio sample on the waterfall on the screen that you're seeing right now. This is actually live. And this is actually coming from an SDR radio, very much like this one that I have here. I've got one currently plugged into my computer. If I pull it out, then it's going to disconnect and drop my QRX. But you get the same thing out of this that you get out of the regular RTLSDR.com, I believe. That one is a little bit more expensive because the antennas on that one are a little bit more versatile. They've got some telescoping antennas, some smaller antennas. And that one is actually the one that I used back during my HackMiami conference talk on ADSB. So when you pull up GQRX and you tune it in, you actually get the ability, you can look at the actual waterfall itself. So rather than dialing in a very one specific frequency, in this case, you only have to get close and you can actually see, okay, I may be at 315 megahertz as per what the FCC document says, but it's actually maybe a little bit more or maybe a little bit less, and you can actually see it much easier looking at the waterfall.
Hey, Will, I got a question for you. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Do you have any experience with tools like InSpectrum or Universal Radio Hacker, some of these tools so in my experience, you either have out-of-the-box tools that are built to decode stuff like ADSB or some of these other protocols, or in the case of like trying to figure out your garage door opener stuff, you're kind of just trying to reverse engineer a signal. Do you have any experience with any of those tools?
So like I said, mostly using GQRX is what I've used to actually locate. Like I actually have worked this out on my garage. Unfortunately, I don't have that set up anymore. But I actually was able to sniff out the frequency that my garage door was using and was able to play it back on a previous Raspberry Pi that I had. This one that I have right now, I just basically, like 2 weeks ago, was able to get the heads soldered on. So this actually has a USB head on it. I haven't tested this one out yet, but I was able to play it back. And yes, in many cases, you can actually open a garage door. The funny thing is, actually, a lot of cars are still using no encryption whatsoever. So they
not
claim
even rolling codes.
Yeah, not even roaming codes. They just use the same code over and over again. And if you use GQRX, in many cases, you can actually record, if you have a halfway decent SDR radio, that signal that's being broadcast out and play it right back. Like I said, using a Raspberry Pi. You don't even have to use, what was that other device that we used over at the B-sides? And I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I was just looking at it earlier. They had it on Hack 5.
Yardstick 1?
Yes, the yardstick. That's it, the yardstick
Yeah.
one. So you don't even have to really, in many cases, actually use a yardstick. A Raspberry Pi is a little bit dirty, and when it comes to the RF signal, but if you're close enough, typically it actually can work. And there's no special equipment that's actually required on a Raspberry Pi to make it work. It's all software. So the only thing you really have to do is, I think it's GPIO 3, is actually put a wire on there, a little bit of practice and getting the right length of the wire so you can tune it correctly, and you should be able to get in.
Right, because they got DACs on some of those pins, digital analog
Correct.
converters, so you can just use. That's interesting. Cool.
Correct.
Gotta try that out.
Hopefully, like I said, the next time I have a talk on the HackRF, the Flipperzero will actually come in a lot more play. I'm really excited to actually look at that and do more stuff with it, but it literally showed up in my house not even like an hour ago, so I haven't had a chance to play with it at all yet. And
Well,
from what
looking forward to that.
they're actually now showing up at everybody else's houses as well.
Yeah, still waiting on mine as well.
Yeah, I have mine. As soon as everyone has theirs, probably next month, we should probably all bring them in. You know, get our Tamagotchis to know each other. You know.
Nice.
I don't know if they have. I think there's like a French other features on it too to like connect them to each other or something. Maybe.
It's very possible. Like I said, I just opened the box like a half hour ago, and I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. So I'm only going off of what I've seen on the website and what they claim it can do. So RFID, sub 1 gigahertz frequencies, supposed to be wide open, and I'm really excited to play with that.
They also supposedly have the capability of hacking some type of e-tag, something I've never seen in the US. I think it's more popular in like Europe and Russia. They look like a little like tab battery that you use to open certain doors. You can hack them with it. I've never seen them, or I don't know if it's useful here.
It's probably something similar. I mean, it's RFID basically is what those things are. And I used to actually use those when I was working in Italy in the shipyards. All the coffee machines have them. So you go out to the coffee machine itself when the vendor was there, you spend €5, he gives you this little dongle that has that tag on it, You load up money on it, and then you could go out and get espressos in the afternoon while you're working on the ships.
Cool.
Cool, man. Thanks for doing the talk. Any you guys have any other questions?
I wish I really had more, but again, some of the things I wanted to bring up also. My work has been really, really, really crazy busy. So I currently work at a small company
I
called
wish we had a better location. I wish I was a little bit taller.
Yeah. So if anybody knows any decent Linux engineers is in South Florida, we're looking.
Oh yeah, you said what was the name of your company?
It's a little known
Well,
company.
it's now Cisco, right?
Yeah, it's Cisco.
Well, Will got acquired by Cisco, and they're looking for some decent Linux engineers. So, if you guys know anyone that is looking to relocate to another company, you can shoot Will their info, and so you can get a referral.
I don't even really care about
Alright.
the referral. Honestly, we're short-staffed and we just need more puppies.
Will, can you post some job description in the job channel, and everyone could read up about it?
Okay, can do.
How about you show us the actual device?
Oh, let me see. Can we see which one do you want to see?
The one that he just got.
Oh, the Ponagachi?
Right.
Yeah, can you stop showing your screen and show us your Ponagachi? I mean, Flipperzero. Tamagotchi. Yeah.
Well, you can still see my cam, right?
Yeah, Tamagotchi. No, it's Flip. Yeah. 1 second. Let me,
Yeah.
Flipper does everything. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing is pretty
that's
impressive.
cool. I can't wait till
There's the infrared. It's got a USB-C in the back there. Yeah, I haven't even
so it has IR. It has NFC.
Right.
It has you can clone your HIDs. You can clone high frequency, low frequency. You can clone tags. You could control TV monitors with the RF. You also have the Wi-Fi hacking too, because it has 802.11. You can do deauth and captures, and that's like an upgrade to the Ponagachi.
Yes.
But it also has plus features.
Yeah. This is like a Ponagachi on steroids.
Yeah. I can't wait till I get mine. I'm waiting for it. It comes in this week.
I hope you get yours soon as well. And like you said, we should actually have a meetup once everybody gets theirs.
Yeah, I gotta take down my garage door opener and bring it in and say, here, let's clone this so you guys can see it work and watch the gears.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was a Kickstarter.
What do you think it's up? Like
all right, so anything you want to do? You want to adjourn the meeting, Rod? You want to adjourn the meeting? You're done. You have anything you want to say?
Are there any other questions?
Does anyone have any other questions for Will? Oh, thank you, Will.
Thanks, Will.
Yours, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Will.
Sorry, we had our first meeting here at Miami Subs. We're actually gonna probably rename it to HackMiami Subs.
Nice.
The food is actually good.
All right.
But I guess we leave it on for Discord.
Yeah, we'll talk about. We're gonna talk here about some meeting arrangements for next meetings, and we'll catch you guys on Discord. Oh, I think there's a meeting comment in chat. Oh, Flipperzero, yeah. Flipperzero.1.
Yep.
Flipperzero.1. All right. All right. I'll see you guys later. You want to stop recording? Yeah, let's stop it. And we'll talk.